So we got the latest on the Mickey Rourke story. If you watch my other video talking about Mickey Rourke in the Big Brother house, I was basically just saying, it was cool to see him in there. And Big Brother hasn't been cool for years, but when they have some good people in there, um, it can be interesting to watch the dynamics and the whole psychology of it. And Rourke was definitely giving everyone a run for their money, and an interesting kind of character to have in there. He's kind of very authentic. There's no kind of faking it. He's not really been a big part of Hollywood for a long time, so I think he's kind of bringing some authenticity to the house. I think everyone else in there is a bit fake, a bit you know poserish kind of thing, but I think Rourke's been anything but a poser. But I'm in Cancun, so I can't actually watch it. I've just been watching all the clips and stuff, and I was kind of talking on my other video about how, censorship has went too far, and the kind of woke society we're living in now, where you can't say anything. But yeah, the latest update is that Rourke has been kicked out of the house. On the last video, I was saying, what do you think, guys? Do you think he should be kicked out? Obviously, I didn't think so, but I could see it was probably coming. So the reality is that he's out. He's been kicked out, and apparently it was some feud with one of the other guys in there. I think it was the drag queen one. I don't know his name, but yeah. So some kind of feud. He gave him side eye or something. Gave him the side eye, and Rourke didn't like it. And yeah, so Mickey had a bit of a nasty feud with him as well, by the seems of it. But yeah, basically, I think he's just being his authentic self, and from all the comments I've seen, everyone just thinks it's a bit crazy he's been kicked out because he was the only reason they were watching, and I think in the future he's not gonna be able to do these kind of shows again, maybe, but depends how kind of sensitive other platforms are. I think England has got particularly woke, and this was kind of his one opportunity to kind of make some cash back. I heard different things that he may not even get his full fee because he's been kicked out. But I do also think there's a possibility he was in the house. I don't know who agrees with me on this. Let me know in the comments. But I think there's a possibility he was only supposed to be in there for 3 or 4 days, and maybe all the drama that's unfolded. Maybe they told him just to, possibly they told him to be provoking a little bit, or maybe he had some agreement where he was only going to be in there for a few days, like a lot of big celebrities with the Celebrity Get Me Out of Here, the other show. That one's ITV, but occasionally you get a really big star in that, but they were only there for a week or something. It's like a quick cash grab, and I wonder if he was on the same kind of deal, because I remember he said something early on about, from what I've seen on the clips, when he was starting the feud with the lesbian girl, he said something about it being possibly offensive. I can't think what I was saying. Hola, okay, buenas tardes. Yeah, he said something about, I'm only going to be in here for a few days. Yeah, something like that. I'm only going to be in here for a few days. Something like that, along those lines, and that got me thinking maybe he isn't in here for long. Or he said, "Oh, I'm only going to be in here a week or something," and then they said, the rest of the housemates were like, "Oh, a week? You got that wrong, Mickey," kind of thing, because obviously it's not a week. It's supposed to be a month or a good few weeks or something. So I think maybe he let that slip, but no one sort of caught up on that. So maybe he wasn't supposed to be in there for a long time, and maybe all this drama that's unfolding is just TV gold that they've kind of manufactured a bit. But at the same time, it's weird that Big Brother are kicking him out, because I can't imagine he would have agreed to being kicked out under these circumstances. But possibly he doesn't mind being a bit of a provoker if it means keeping authentic, and you know. So who knows? Maybe it was all a ploy all along, and he's just being himself and pushing a few buttons. But I think from what I've seen, most of it looks non-intentional. He says things, and then he's told is wrong what he said by the Big Brother house, the woke Big Brother house. And then there you go. He's like, usually his reaction is like, oh right, like he didn't realise. He seems surprised. So I think I think he's just an old school guy, as I said on the other video, just old school guy with old school approach to life, and and also quite real. He isn't jumping on the kind of a woke bandwagon of can't say this, can't do this, can't think this, you know. Without, I think people are too quick to get kind of offended these days. There's no discussion anymore. There's no discussion anymore. It's all kind of a bit one-sided. If someone's offended, basically that's the shutdown term. Someone's only got to say something's racist, homophobic, one of these categories, and they cancel whatever show you're on. They end up cancelling it, or they cancel you, because of the offence, rather than there's no real discussion goes on anymore where people are educated, I guess, to why someone's offended. But also, people don't need to care that someone's offended. It's not really anyone's responsibility to self-censor themselves. I think if it's deliberately going out your way to be nasty to someone is a different story, but the way Mickey seems to do it, and a lot of people have that same way of his kind of generation, it's kind of, they've seen enough bull in their life that they know when things are just dramatized bull. And if someone's genuinely offended or sad, or it's different, but it seems like everyone's sad on or offended on behalf of someone else. A lot of the time it's never directly the person. Is usually they're offended for the category of person that should be offended. And I'm not being funny, but anyone who's who fits in any of these categories, I don't really believe in categories, but obviously there's so many categories now, it kind of defines people these days. People want to be defined by their labels, but we're all humans at the end of the day. Gay, white, black, doesn't really matter. We're all humans, and we have different opinions, differing opinions, and different views, and our lifestyle and the way we've grew up and things can form your opinions. And it doesn't really matter if you're gonna fit in one little category, because people don't. That's not really how life works. If you're just because you're gay or whatever you might be, it doesn't mean you're going to fit into this category of being offended, or certain thoughts you might have, or political views. It can differ. It's a spectrum. People have a wide variety of views, whether they're gay or white or black, or whatever little category you want to put it in. At the end of the day, we're all human, and it's kind of to me, I feel like these days things have been put into too many little categories and labels, where you feel kind of like people think on behalf of someone else. I'm offended on behalf of the gay community, on behalf of the drag community, the transgender community, whatever, you're offended. But open discussion is what we need, really, and not nobody should be directly offensive to anyone or nasty with bad intent. I think that's the main thing. That's different. But if people are just ignorant, or they say things and they don't realize the offense, or things are being blown out of proportion, I think that should be seen as a different thing. Rather than just being instantly offended, you can think, oh, Mickey's ignorant to whatever it may be. He's a bit old school, he's a bit ignorant, but does that make him a bad person? Does that make him cancelable? Should he be cancelled just for not fitting in a little box of woke channel 4 or 5? I don't know what channel it's on now, so no offense to channel 4 if it isn't channel 4. I think it's channel 5, Big Brother. But yeah, should they fit into that woke reality TV kind of way of thinking now? It's just strange. But yeah, Mickey's out the house, but hopefully he's coming out of there with a nice bit of money. And all I can say is, it's a bit of a joke when Big Brother, the whole point of the show is to show the dynamics of how people from all walks of life get along. It doesn't really make sense to be in different category, be thrown out of the house because because of an opinion. It doesn't really make sense to sort of have a TV show that's based around people having an opinion, different opinions, and different people from different walks of life, and then being kind of crucified for having a different opinion to someone else who's in the house, or having different views on someone else who's in the house, because that is the whole point of Big Brother. You know, Big Brother's watching you, and you're people from all walks of life. That's, I thought, what the premise of the whole show was. So yeah, it kind of, to me, it doesn't make sense that this is a whole new level of censorship, I think, to actually throw him out the house for words. You know, no punches have been thrown, no fists have been flying. It's just opinions in the air, and opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one, so why should someone with one opinion be silenced? It's basically silence. He's been silenced, he's been censored, he's been thrown out of the show. So to me, that doesn't sound good. It doesn't make sense to me that that is what it's come to, Big Brother. And I think their viewing figures will be going down a lot, and I don't think anyone's going to be watching the show anymore. It's a load of has-beens and wannabes now in the house. Mickey was a big movie star, he would have had a lot to say. He's had a really weird career, and he's done boxing, he's quite non-conventional kind of Hollywood actor, and things would have got so interesting if they hadn't just, he hasn't really had chance to be himself or tell any interesting stories or anything. I think it was also people's one chance to get in the head of Mickey Rourke and find out a bit more about him and what he's like when the cameras are off, although they are on. But I think a lot of the time they feel like the cameras are off because it's a different kind of show. It's not like interview style, it's just him living his life in the house, and people would have enjoyed getting to see a bit more of Mickey Rourke. And I think it's the only chance. They're blowing their chance to get a real look at who he is as a person, and finding out what it's like to be at that kind of level of fame that he was back in the day, and also how his career kind of fallen a bit over the years, and what he's had to do, since being kind of outcast by Hollywood. It's all interesting stuff, which I think, by the looks of it, none of that has been mentioned. It's just straight off. It's like, you're homophobic, Mickey. You're a bad person. You're old school, too old school for this show. You need to kind of get with the times, type of thing. Street dog. I'm in Cancun, so you see a lot of these running around. But yeah, poor fella. I do feed them and stuff when I get a chance. Give them water and stuff. We got a water bowl down there. Got the street cats and stuff as well. But this one's winding up all the dogs, all the pet dogs. It's going along winding. But yeah, anyway, that's it really. So it was a bit awkward, this video, because people were walking by and stuff, and I couldn't really get my train of thought the whole time. But yeah, I just wanted to see what you guys thought. Anyway, of Mickey Rourke being outcast, and whether this is signs of woke gone too far and censorship gone too far, and just, if we can't even have a TV show with a bit of a drama these days, what's it going to be? Is it going to be all like Teletubbies for adults? Is that how people want it now? Just like, hello, this is Big Brother, and we're all friends, we're all getting along. Mickey's making pancakes. Who wants a pancake? Oh, he's making the gay guy a pancake. He must be a great, example of modern society, where he can make a gay person a pancake. Good old Mickey. I don't get what level of, babiness it needs to be TV for things not to be offensive anymore. It's like, as I said on the other video, in the words of Ricky Gervais, I forgot. In the words of Ricky Gervais, just because you're offended doesn't mean you're right, And also, I don't know what all this political crap is behind me. I don't get political, but to be fair, though, it's better than England politics. They actually do stuff in Mexico. They seem to be doing some good stuff, these politicians, which makes a change. They actually do stuff for the people, from what I've heard. But like I say, I don't get involved in politics, but that is some voting thing behind me there. But yeah, it's not my thing. I'm not into that stuff. I think they're all out to further their own careers, and it's not very often for the people that are actually doing anything. But like I say, over here, it seems like one of them does do stuff for the people, which is good. Need more of that if we're gonna have political things going on. But anyway, that's off topic, so I won't get into that. But yeah, so Mickey kicked out the Big Brother house. That is the latest update. And yeah, I just want to know what you guys think. Is it right? Is it wrong? I just think it's an example of wokeness gone too far, and over the past few years we've had a lot of that, and a lot of one-sided things, and you know, uh, it's crazy. But all the truth's coming out now. If you haven't noticed or you don't know what I'm talking about, you should, because the truth's coming out. It's been a crazy few years, but the truth is coming out, and there's a lot of things being seen for what it actually was now. And I think society's turned into one big kind of control tactic. Every move that's made these days seems to be in the effort to kind of control people, and yeah, as long as people are waking up to that, I think that's a good thing. So stay awake to all the little things, like even Big Brother being kicked out of the house, Mickey being kicked out of Big Brother. All these little things add up to one big thing where things are changing, society's changing, and we don't have to go along with it. We can speak our voice and be heard. So yeah, adios amigos. Keep it real. That's what this channel's about anyway. I'll always be keeping it real. I don't really get political. I just keep out of it. But my songs kind of have some good messages. But that's it really. I'm not going to become too kind of giving my opinions. I don't think that's what music's about, and that's what I'm about. I'm a musician, and I think it's good to have a message in the music, but not really give your own opinions too much. I like to keep things pretty non-biased, and but when it comes to wokeness, I'm more than happy to talk about that, because it's crazy times. So yeah, adios amigos, keep it real.